Chapter 5. I still didn't know how I was going to pay for the supplies I needed. I had my kitty banks, but the total money in all of them didn't add up to the amount I needed to buy the ingredients. On Friday, when I got home from school, my mom told me I had missed a call from Mr. Adams at the Blue Moon Cafe. His number was on a board by the phone, so I dialed it up. A big booming voice said, "Cafe Blue, how are you?" I smiled. "Hello, Mr. Adams, it's Cat Casey calling you back." "Oh yes, the pumpkin brownie baker. How good of you to return my call," he continued. "Miss Baker, would you be able to stop by the cafe tomorrow afternoon so we can confirm the arrangement for our order?" Yes, sir. I can come by about 3 p.m. Will that work?" "Delightful," said Mr. Adams. "See you tomorrow," he boomed. On Saturday, my brother and I rode our bikes into town to return some library books and get our haircuts at the Hanson Scissors Salon. The Hanson sisters had been cutting our hair since we were 2 years old and knew us like family. "There she is," smiled Patty, "the Twinkle Bar girl." I grinned. "How did you know?" I asked. "Oh, there is very little that goes on in this town that we don't hear about. Mrs. Adams had her hair done the Monday after your bars found their way to the meeting at the cafe," she said. "She told us that Mrs. Smith had brought the most delicious treats for the meeting, and they were going to order a big batch for the special day." "That's right," I told her. "They ordered 500. 500? Asked her sister Lindsay. "How will you ever manage an order that big?" "I have the mass production all worked out with my winner friends," I said. "But I am still trying to figure out how to pay for all the ingredients." "Yes, that is a challenge," said Patty, after I told her how I figured out the total amount of money I needed. "How are you going to decorate the bars?" asked Lindsay as she cut the hair over my brother's eyes. "Decorate?" I asked. "I guess I was just going to wrap them in plastic wrap," I said. "Oh no," said Patty and Lindsay at the same time. "You must give them your own signature style," said Patty. "Why don't you head over to the general store after your haircut and look around at their displays? Maybe that will give you some ideas for your packaging," said Lindsay. After our haircuts, we had about 30 minutes before I was going over to the cafe. My brother rode off to the park where a group of kids were playing frisbee. I walked into the general store. Mrs. Patch and her mother were behind the shop counter and greeted me kindly. "What can we do for you today, dear?" Mrs. Patch asked. "I came in for some ideas on how to decorate my pumpkin twinkle bars for the Halloween spooktacular," I told them. "The Hanson sisters said I need a signature look, but I don't quite know what to do." The women glanced at each other and smiled. "Take a look around and let us know if you find any ideas," Mrs. Patch said. I spent 20 minutes looking around. I even took a few minutes to look at the kitty banks, but nothing really came to mind. I liked how the soaps had a ribbon around them. I liked the round brown price tags on each item for sale, but I wasn't sure how that would look on a twinkle bar. I waved goodbye on my way out and popped across the street to the cafe. The front steps already had carved pumpkins out on display, and there were bales of hay on the porch. Settled upon the hay was the cutest black kitten I had ever seen. She just blinked her eyes and went back to sleep. That's it, I thought. Black cat. Mr. Adams was ringing up a customer, so I sat down at the counter to wait. When he was done, he turned to me. "Ah, Miss Baker, right on time. How considerate. Let's have a cuppa while we have our meeting." He poured himself a cup of coffee, or as he says, a cuppa, and handed me a cup of cocoa. "We are very pleased to order those delicious brownie bars for the Halloween spooktacular. How are your plans coming for our order of 500? He asked. "I figured out my cost of goods sold and have a plan for mass production," I told him, hoping my use of business terms would make me sound professional. "Ah, yes, indeed," he said seriously. "Very important to get your details in order." "Will the bars be the same size as the ones we tasted when Mrs. Smith brought them to us?" he asked. "Yes," I told him. "I will make 12 brownies out of each batch." "Will they be wrapped individually like before?" he asked. "Yes," I said with a smile. "They are officially called Pumpkin Twinkle Bars, and they will have a special decoration on each one." "Excellent," said Mr. Adams. "Then all we have left is to confirm our order with a contract." He picked up a piece of paper and handed it to me. "This is a purchase order," he said. "It is our request in writing for the order. At the bottom, we have noted that the bars are to be delivered Sunday morning between 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. before we open." "Yes, Mr. Adams," I said. "I can provide 500 twinkle bars by 7 a.m. on the 31st. "Excellent, Miss Baker," he said, and handed me the purchase order. "Now, there's one more thing," he said. "I would like to make a deposit for the order. I will pay you half of the amount we owe now and the balance when you make the delivery." My eyes opened wide, but I didn't miss a beat. "Yes, sir, that would be excellent," I said, using his excellent word back. He walked over to the cash register and pulled out $125. He made a note on the purchase order of the amount. We both wrote our initials next to it. With a wink and a smile, he was off to serve the next customer. I was off on my bike with the money. I needed to buy the ingredients and get started on my secret plan for packaging the twinkle bars. I went straight home and found a metal box with a latch on it in the garage. I put the $125 deposit and purchase order in the box for safekeeping. Then I headed to the kitchen to help my mom with dinner. Before I washed my hands, I called my grandma and asked her to bring a box of craft supplies she has in her extra bedroom. After dinner, my mom, dad, grandpa, and brother settled in around the table to play cards. My grandma and I went into the living room and worked for a couple of hours cutting and prepping my decorations. I didn't let anyone else see them. This was a fun surprise. The next week came and went with school and Wednesday winter. We skipped Chinnikin's practice and I showed Nick, Max, and Emma how to bake the twinkle bars. After dinner, they were cool enough to cut into rectangles and wrap with plastic wrap. It was good practice. Nick cut the batch and Max started wrapping the bars. They decided Nick was a neater wrapper, so they switched roles and Max cut the rest. It was important for the brownies to be the same size, so I made a template. First, they had to cut the pan of brownies in half the long way, and then cut each side into 6 even bars. I showed them the decoration for finishing off each one like a little package. They were really impressed. "It looks like it came from a professional bakery," said Emma. The next day, my dad and I went grocery shopping to get all of the ingredients. My grandpa had been watching the newspaper and found a sale on eggs at a grocery a few miles away. The eggs were on sale for only 60 cents per dozen, which made them 5 cents each. Since eggs were one of my most expensive ingredients in my recipe, it would be worth getting them at the sale price. By saving $26.40 on eggs, I would be able to make that much more in profit. When we got home, I divided the ingredients into 4 boxes so we could split everything between the 4 kitchens. The eggs went into the refrigerator in 4 stacks. We would put them on the top of the boxes when we delivered them to each house on Saturday. The countdown was on, and all we needed to do was execute my plan.